It's hard to believe. It seems like it's just yesterday that we started 2025. And it seems like I always get the chance a couple weeks before to do a short little invitation talk. So I would like to kind of reflect on the past year about what's gone and what's good and what can I improve on. And the more I thought about this song service tonight, I kept on going back to this verse in 1 Corinthians 13 when Paul says, now all these things remain. Now faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. The more I thought about 2025 and I thought about the new year coming up, it's undeniable how these three things have been an impact. How faith, how hope, and how love. How much I've seen, how much I have strived for, and how much I have heard. And for the next few minutes, I just want to focus on those next few things. In Hebrews chapter 11, starting verse 1, it says, now faith is confident in what is for hope, or what we hope for, and assurance about what we just do not see. For the ancients have commanded it. By faith we understood the universe was formed by God, and God's command, for that was made for the invisible. The remaining parts of chapter 11 talk about the quote-unquote heroes of faith. How about how the Noah, in his holy fear, built a massive ark. How Abraham, in his faith, would offer his only son. And how the people would cross the Red Sea and would march around the great walls of Jericho as they would fall down. All because of their faith. As we look to 2025, how has your faith impacted you? And how can we make an impact in 2026? For me, this year is undeniable. I am confident in saying, with the events that I have gone on, I'm more grounded in my faith. As Paul says, I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power that brings salvation, the hope of heaven. I've always enjoyed the imagery of this idea of building a house. And I believe these three words are a great fit into that. If Christ is our foundation, I think faith can be the walls around that foundation. It is because of this faith we also have hope. As we continue to build this house, hope is our roof. No matter how beautiful the walls might be in this building, or what is inside the building, the furniture or the clothing, without a roof, all those things don't matter. The roof will protect us and shield us when the walls cave in. Without it, the walls would cave in. Hope is always here when we need it the most. In Romans chapter 5, it says to rejoice in sufferings because it produces endurance, that produces character, and that produces hope. Romans 12:12 says to rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer. Romans 15:13, may the God of all hope fill you with joy and peace in believing, so that the power of the Holy Spirit may abound in hope. If I was to ask you to raise your hands, which I won't, if anyone has had a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, or even just a bad year, I bet we all would have our hands raised at some point. But hope gives us a chance, knowing that there's a greater good, and that God, in his great grace and mercy, has better days ahead of us. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16 says, so we do not lose heart, though our outer self is wasting away, and our inner self is being renewed day by day. For this light monetary affliction is preparing us for the eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen, but to the things that are transient, but to the things that are eternal. And finally, we come to our last word, and it is, according to Paul, the most important: love. 1 Corinthians 13 goes into a whole section of love. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist in its own ways. It's not irritable. It's not resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things, because love never fails. Since Christ is our foundation and faith is the walls, hope can be our roof. Because we have the beautiful house, and what is inside We have a beautiful house, and what is inside? A house is a house, but what's inside makes it count. Love holds it all together. Love makes it a home. Love is the greatest because without it, we wouldn't even be here. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son." Romans 5:8, but God shows his great love for us that we're still sinners. Christ died for us. 1 John 4, verses 8, "Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love." And then John 15:12, "This is my commandment that I give to you, that you love one another. Greater love has none than this, that someone to lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I tell you." So as you look to your 2025 and you reflect on it and you look at these things and you look at your 2026, how can you abound in love? How does love make one another one? How does a love make us want to share the love of Christ? I pray as we enter a new year and as we reflect on the old one, that your faith in Jesus, the hope of heaven, and the love of God and your fellow man abounds more and more in your life. If you have a need, why don't you come as we stand and sing?